What is up, you guys? It's John here, and today we're going to be talking about sight singing skills, which is one of the best skills any musician can have besides having perfect pitch. Here's a joke. How do you know if someone has perfect pitch? Don't worry, they'll tell you. Okay, that was a bad joke. Let's move on. Actually, before we move on, make sure to destroy the like button. Destroy the like button until it turns blue, and then we can move on. Sight singing skills is one of the most beneficial skills a musician can have. Developing sight singing skills helps you develop relative pitch, which means you compare everything to a single note and you work out the interval between the two notes. Here's a quick story. On Sundays, I cantor and I lead a congregation in the music during the Mass. And if you haven't seen my video about how to cantor, I'll link it up. Okay, so back to the story. Okay, so there was this one time that I was looking at the beginning of the song and I totally didn't remember what the second note sounded like. I knew the first note, but I didn't know what the second note sounded like, but I knew it was a perfect fourth. I mean, I was in front of the congregation. I couldn't go to a piano and pluck out the notes to hear it. I couldn't pull out my phone during the Mass. What ended up happening was I remembered this simple trick of what a perfect fourth sounded like. So I want to help you and give you a quick and simple, easy guide. So if you stick all the way to the end of the video, I will be explaining what is an interval, the math and construction of an interval, a short explanation of solfege, and a quick and easy strategy that I use that you can learn and apply today. So let's get right into it. What is an interval? An interval is simply the distance between two notes, and the name of the interval describes the type and the distance. Well, that was fast. Now let's talk about the math and construction of an interval. You could simply count the lines and spaces between the two notes to find the distance, including the line or space that the first note is on. So if you're trying to find out a perfect fifth and the notes are C and G, you count C, D, E, F, and G, and that's a perfect fifth. Based on the key signature and the number of half steps in between each interval, you could determine if it's major or minor. And then the distance determines the number. Now you're probably thinking,
but John, I don't know what a key signature is. I don't even know what music is. I can't watch this video. Dislike, unsub.
Well, this will help you. I don't want to waste your time. Here is a chart you can use and you could hear what each interval sounds like. When I first started learning music theory, I would reproduce this chart, and I would also draw a piano, and I would literally count the half steps in between each interval. It's also important to know where the half steps and whole steps lie on a piano. I would pay attention to the half steps between E and F and B and C. I practice intervals a lot, so now I don't have to count each half step in between each interval, to the point where I now know that a C to a E is a major third, or a E flat to B flat is a perfect fifth. So I'm giving you the interval half step counting strategy because it's fail proof. It does take a lot of time, but there is no way of getting it wrong when you count the half steps perfectly. Now let's get into the good stuff. Solfege. Solfege is taught in a lot of schools, and I highly recommend learning solfege. Well, solfege is what you eventually want to get to. Learning solfege will help you speed up the process so you'll know what a perfect fourth sounds like, a perfect fifth, a major third. I'm going to put a chart of the solfege scale, and no matter what key you're in, do will always be the first scale degree, and re second, and so on. And no matter what key you are in, you'll always remember the intervals based off of the solfege name. Learning this next trick and learning it hand in hand with solfege will make you a great sight singer. So here's my favorite tip. Learning intervals with songs you already know. Remember my cantering story? Well, when I was trying to figure out what a perfect fourth sounded like, I didn't go do to fa. What's do to fa? I remembered Amazing Grace, the first two notes, or Here Comes the Bride. And guess what? That made me confident, and I went in and I led the congregation with confidence, knowing the second note. So I'll put a chart of some songs you can use for the intervals, and the good thing about this chart is it's ascending and descending. So if you look at it, a minor second, you can use the Jaws theme, or for descending, you could use the Jurassic Park theme, and you could look at any of them, and then you'll confidently be correct with every interval. So I hope this helped. I know it's not easy, but with practice, you will be correct and you'll be more confident when using intervals in sight singing. Now with that said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please smash that like button, subscribe button, and notification bell. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time.